Anyway, good afternoon, class, everyone.
Afternoon, sir.
So again, no, it took a while, 2 weeks tang awa mag-meet because of the activities, but we'll just continue with our. So I've posted the latest guide sa BSUE. So if you have time, you can locate them now or later maybe. So it's on 3.3 for terrain analysis. So basically, let me present this something. Your exercise 3 is on terrain analysis. So what do you usually do? So when we're dealing with uh, agricultural stuff, okay? So for your first exercise, you've dealt with, again, your 2D space. You've mapped where, so unsa nga lugar, unsa nga location. Then on exercise 2, you've managed data sets, attribute tables, databases. But for now, we'll try to apply more on our agricultural engineering concepts. So for this week, we'll try to make use of QGIS on how we use them for farming. So in this case, through visualization of topography and your terrain analysis. So this is where you'll deal with your digital elevation models. So normally, no, we plant crops in soil, and the Philippines is mostly mountainous areas. Wala tayo halos flat area. So in the case of like BSU, it's Mount Pangasugan, some flat area, and then directly to the sea. So it's essential for us to know which among that area is usable for arable farming. So based on our law, okay, 0 to 3% can be used for lowland rice, and anything above 18% slope is already considered forest land or restricted land. So using this data set or using this information, we can identify which of the locations in your area is suitable for lowland crops, suitable for upland crops, and the so on. So mainly in this exercise, we'll talk on how to use our DEMs. So I'll switch to QGIS. So again, no, I'm hoping you're already familiar with this. So ignore the data sets for now, okay? So if you look at your exercise 3, your first goal is to add your raster file. So you can do that by downloading the datasets that I'll upload. And normally DEMs are .tifs usually. So they are instead of lines or vector-based lines, they are pixel-based images. So each pixel only contains one data, which is elevation. So it's a series of squares placed side by side, and each cell designates elevation. So normally you would have what is this place? Sure, so when you download your DMs, you would usually locate them by looking at the extension .tif. So let's say I'm looking for our location. So this is your DEM. Okay. So this is the large DEM. And I think I've given this before already. Ah, yeah. So each of these cells represent elevation. So it's in here that you can see which among these places are high in elevation. So by default, it represents it as black and white with rays to denote your transition. So if you look at on the left side, white is your highest elevation and black is your lowest elevation. So when you get DMs, because they're normally taken from satellite images, they are taken from a far location up in the atmosphere, above the atmosphere. So it's larger photos. So when you do this on your exercises, it's much easier to reduce the area of your DEM by identifying your location. So in my case, for this exercise, I've chosen on the laboratory card, I've chosen Ormoc City. But for your exercise, you do the terrain analysis on your location from Exer 3.1. So let's say I want to find Ormoc. So you load your admin map and then you find Ormoc, which is this one. This is Ormoc. So this is already an admin based map, which you've already handled in exercise one. So again, no, you save your shapefile. So yellow just means I've selected this region. Okay. So in this case, no, it's bye bye Albuera Ormoc. So in this, I'll select Ormoc, then right click, save selected features, and save that wherever you want. E, hindi pa rin nakikita. So now I've added a new Ormoc file and I've limited the Ormoc shapefile. So now this shapefile is only limited to Ormoc. So now I'm going to use that data so that I can extract the DEM only specific to this region. Bale, prog kung kadumdum mo sa AutoCAD, imo i-clip or imo i-trim nimo ang DEM nga diri ra siya within the bounds of your shapefile or administrative map. So how do you do that? So okay lang na it's a different CRS for both files. So to clip your raster, you go to raster, extraction, and mask layer because that's your layer. You're applying, so let's say you have a sheet of paper, then you apply a circle cutout. Then you're only taking that circle cutout. Then input layer is your DEM. So in this case, it's LaTeX. And your mask layer is Ormoc. Keep everything default and play run. Click run. And then your DEM is now limited to your located area. This is especially useful because DEMs are large files. They are large image files and QGIS tends to save memory depending on the amount of file that you're trying to process. So by keeping them small, limited only to what we're trying to analyze, we're making it easier for our systems to catch up, and it's a lot faster to process as well. Okay, so where am I in my... Okay. So bale, mo na ni ang vector. You've done this in 3.1. So we'll focus on this, our DEM for Ormoc. So based on this alone, I can see that this side of Ormoc is mountainous because it's light, and this area here is suitable for farming because it's relatively flat. But this alone is not enough for me to say that is where the suitable region is. So we'll try to add more processing so that you can identify which regions is suitable for planting. So normally when paano unsay purpose ani? So when you look at your satellite image, so if I'll go back to my... so if I go back to my Google image, right? Let me just make this bigger. Okay, so this is the vicinity of Ormo. And again, now we can see that this side here is mountain and this side here is your flat area. Looking down here, now we can see that there are arable land. There are already areas that are planted. I'm not sure if this is rice or it's a type of vegetable area, but when we want to advise people what should be the suitable crop to be planted on these regions, knowledge of your slope map, technically your slope and soil map, will allow the people to understand, dapat pala ang akong itanong diri kay gulay, kay dili siya suitable for rice. Ganun. So it's all about trying to advise, okay, and to understand, should this really be a place to plant rice, or if they really insist on planting rice, maybe they can apply strip cropping, terracing, contour band systems so that the area becomes suitable now for... because again, no, the ideal slope for rice is 0 to 3% slope. So if this is higher than 0 to 3%, then that poses a problem in terms of amount of yield, irrigation, things like that. So on exercise 3, I think we're already in letter N. So if you look here, now you'll notice that there's this chip here. Again, this just means it's not saved yet. Yan lang siya. It's not saved. So it's up to you if you want to save it as a file. But the first thing we have to do is check the information of our DEM. So our DEM is... pag pag mo na yung makita nga... Wait, ba't hindi kita? Sorry, wait. Apologies. Okay. No? So usually we go to information. So right click lang ang DEM, and then information. Then you go down, then you'll see pixel size. So normally when you see 0.002, it means that it's in arc second form. So you get uh so arc second is yung sinabi ko na ano, the amount of seconds an earth moves, and then you get the sector, and you get the it's a defined length given on the earth, and if it moves 1 degree, so that degree corresponds to the sector, so SR theta. So mo niyang pixel size. So if pixel size is denoted in this, that means your CRS is in latitude, longitude. So it's in lat long. So mo niyang yung 124 degrees north, 5 degrees east. So in doing your slope analysis, it's a lot better that your DEM is reprojected to a metric projection. So instead of lat long, you present it as meters. So I've already added it. So in this case, you go to raster, and here on projection, you select warp or reproject. Hindi, unlike vector where you can just change the CRS in the information, right? Hindi siya pwede sa the you have to reproject your raster. So select your input map and then select your target CRS. So you can choose PRS 92 or you can choose 32651. They're the same. They're both in Mercator projections. So for this case, I used PRS 92 and keep everything. Wait, may binago ba ako? Okay. Set your resampling value to cubic or 4x4 kernel. And keep everything the same. And you press run. Then you get this one. Oh, hindi pa pala. Ito pa. So they will look different because you've changed your projection. So those are just color representations. The data would still be the same. Now, if you look at the information of the 3125, it's now in 30 by 30. So that means the DEM, so 1 pixel size is equivalent to 30 meters on the ground. So on average, this is your standard dataset that you can download for free easily. Uh, LiDAR systems will take sometimes zero point 0.5 meters and it's useful for smaller areas. But if you talk about if you want to deal with larger areas, it's a lot easier for your system for it to be on a 30 by 30 or by 90 by 90 DOM. As again, I've said, they are individual data per cell. So the more cells you have, the more memory it's going to use. So now that you have your you have your metric DEF, you can just leave the original one unchecked. Ayaw sa i-remove. Just keep it unchecked. So we'll focus on your metric DEM. So I rename this one to 3125 so that I know that it's the metric DEM. So on our lab guide, we're already able to start on our phase 2, which is your contour map. So I hope you're familiar with a contour map or a topo map. I think you've done that in your survey. Did you do that? I don't know. Anyway, um, I'll just continue. So for your phase two, your task is to generate your contour map to make your topo map. So to make your topo map, it's very simple. You go to raster and extraction contour, and it's already there. And then you choose your metric DM, the new one that you made, and you set the interval between your contour lines. You can choose 100, 10, 50, kebala. Default is 10. So if I try 10, just let the process run, and you see your contour map. So these denotes your, again, you know what a contour is. It's areas that have the same elevation. The problem is when you set it to 10, it's very close to each other. So it when you're printing this on paper, mukhang wala din siyang effect. So you could opt to set your contour map to 50. So you just make a new one again, do extraction, contour, and change your interval to 50. Pwede din 100. Okay lang. So this is your 50 contour maps. So now, I can immediately see which areas here are relatively flat. Makikita naman dito na this area is your low region because there's a big gap on your contour. So again, a small horizontal gap between contours means it's a higher slope. And then you can modify your contour map. So back then, you were taught that it's good to have a contour map that has a distinct interval between, let's say, 100 meters. So you can just make a new one, raster, contour, 100. Then i-overlay nyo lang dun sa original. So normally, no, 100-meter contours are much thicker than your default ones. So let's say I can just make this larger or thicker rather. So now I can have a distinction between my contour lines. So every 100 is much thicker, or depende sa inyo when on how do you want to present your topo map. So normally contour maps will have labels. So you right click on contour and go to labels and just set to single base or single levels. And isa lang naman yun, elevation lang naman pipiliin. And then you can choose what you want on this. So now, you'll see the values of your contour. Every time mag-zoom kayo, nagsiscale yung letters or numbers rather. So you get these values that you can see. And now you have the necessary components to make your contour map. Anyway, at this point, do you have questions on your contour map? Because you'll have two outputs for this one. Ito yung isa. Na wala. Wait, what? Who's that? Ah, okay. So, tawag doon, ano, you probably know the person. Sino nga yung nag-ano, nag-QGIS training nung Saturday ba yun? What was his name again?
Ayan, sir, ayan. Ayan makauba man siguro to.
Found it. Okay. Oh, yan. Ormoc din kanya. We can use this one. Let me see. Present something else. So this is what he made for his I don't know, his free time, I guess. Um when you notice, no, he made grids, okay? And he set his E value in the 665, 6745, 684. That just means that ang iyang gipili nga CRS is uh, I can zoom in. You see here that it's in 674,500 E and so on and so forth. That just means na giset niya lang as metric ang iyang DEM CRS. And I don't like it because I don't know assuming 600% or 600,000. He could have used something like degrees so that it's a lot easier to find. But yeah, the next part is all on how to present this one. So more or less, you can present something like this for your phase two because the first one is your topo map. So I'll go back something. So you've done the okay. So the next goal is on phase 3. Phase 3 na tayo sa ating. So this is one. You can make this immediately on your layout. So like you go on your project, layout, slate manager, okay? And you just add your new one. So what I was talking about kanina, okay? So say if I add my map, okay? Just just a standard and then I'll try to so basically let's say this is my viewport. Okay, this is my viewport and I want to present just this as the topo map. Okay? Topo map lang naman. So just your standard contours and your outline. Yung kanina, yung my grid. So you select your map and then you scroll down. Then here on grids, click your plus and then modify. Then you can have different values for your grid type. So if you go on your basic solid, I suggest you, let's say I'll run with okay, so Wait, why? Okay. Sorry, it took me a while. So on your basic grid, okay, let's say you choose solid. And if you choose the CR as metric, so that means you have to think that the map units is in metric. So that means you have to divide your grids in terms of distances in metric. So that's why kay siya kasi sinet ko siya as 0.5. So every 0.5 has a line. So that was on my case. So because it's metric, you have to set it to a higher value to get your 5,000. So these lines represent every 5,000. So that's why it confused me na meron pang scale because this is already your scale. Okay? You know that this grid, okay, is already 5,000 meters in width in relation to the length of the printed paper. There's actually no need for a scale if you're using this one in a way, redundant. And you can change your grid type. You can change cross, you can choose markers. I usually do markers as a way to not use a scale bar. I really don't like using a scale bar. And the one I use most of the time is frame and annotations. And with interior text. So you'll see here, you'll notice that there are these individual lines that denote distance. Instead of the whole grid, kanila, your individual bits. And you just individually edit your grids. So, yung kanina meron siyang coordinates. So you can click draw coordinates. So that way you can have your values. As you see here, you'll see your values. But the problem with metric, again, no, you'll get these numbers, which, ano to yan? What am I supposed to do with 400,000? So you change that by choosing your new CRS to a degree or lat long. And you change your interval to 0.5. No, it's too small. No, it's too wide. Say 0.1. 0.1. Okay. So now it's easier for me to see. It's in 124. But this is still in anong term nito? Decimal form. And it's a lot easier if it's in degree, minutes, or seconds. So I just modify the grid again. And choose here. On your draw coordinates, you have option here. Decimal with, so I usually use degree minute with suffix. So I have 124 degrees, 36 minutes. And pinapalitan ko lang yung coordinate precision to 1. See. Now, I have a map that has this one. Also, most of the time, I don't like them. They're on both sides. So let's say I only want them on one side. Okay. You can also modify that. Just keep going back on your grid. Okay. Modify your grid. And you can remove. So, bale, when you read a map, okay, where do you usually put your eyes first? Depending. Some would be upper left, upper right. Wala halos sa lower. No one's looking there. So, I normally remove my lower map coordinate. So on your bottom, I click disable as well as on the right. Normally, okay, if the North Star is here, I put the coordinates there. Let's say my north arrow is here. North Star, ano yun? Kasi if my north arrow is here, I put the coordinates on the adjacent lines. So in this case, I remove this one. But if it's here, I remove this one. It's just there to eliminate visual clutter. Okay? Because if I'm reading north here, then that means dapat babasa ko agad yung direction there. Okay? If my north arrow is here, it should be easier for me to read the coordinates if they're right there. I'm not reading this one because I should be reading something else, maybe like the legend or some labels instead of this one. Wala na to. I remove that one. So let's say if my north arrow is here, I remove this one. I don't need that anymore. That's your right. And now, ito lang yung focus ko. You can also align your left side. Okay? Let's say gusto mo na subtle yung number dito. You want it to be a little bit subtle, hidden or thin. You can set your left lane, okay, as vertical ascending. So now it's a vertical ascending. So maybe you can put this a little bit closer so you can set that value. So now, I can just set that everything here, okay, on your other space is your labels or your engineering square, labels, name, your important information, legend. So wala nang ano dito. You don't have the numbers here anymore because you've dedicated them in. This value is the same for here anyway. So why bother doing it for both? So just put that there. Okay. Yun. And then, kaya bahala. It's up to you what you want. You can add your scale bar. Yung kanya lang, yung scale bar niya is this one. Instead of your standard scale bar, your single box, it's the step line. So may ganyan. So you have your step line. But if I'm reading a scale or a map that has a step bar, I'm not doing that. Okay? The purpose of your scale should easily denote that when I'm using a string, I can immediately do that. So ano lang, you can modify this depending on how much you want. You could have one left segment and 4 right segments. So you can immediately read your scale. Ganun lang. So after I'll check your exercise, maybe I'll see your map design thinking on how you want to present your map. Maybe depend. It's up to you how you present your map because this is already good for like a topo map. But what is missing from this topo map? Okay, what's missing is why is it red? So you have to consider your color selection as well. It should have logic in it. So like in the case of land use, okay, when you say land use, what's the best color to denote forest? Hindi naman red, di ba? It's usually green, light green. Water is always blue. It can never be other color. Okay. The thing with maps is you have to understand that the reader should not be limited to us as engineers or map makers. The purpose of the map is we want to display, convey information to people with as much information that they can gather regardless of nakatapos ba sila ng college or ng high school. Okay? We want the maps to be readable, not just for us, but for everyone. Okay? So that's why color selection is good. Because let's say contour lines, dapat ba green ang contour line? I don't think so. I prefer it to be something like magandang contour line. Something red orange maybe so that it can see. So you can set the colors to be darker on the high elevations. Mga ganun. The color selection should be logical and it should also convey ito dapat. Like think of Jollibee. Ano kulay ni Jollibee? He's red. Okay? It evokes emotion. Okay? So dapat the color selection, how you present your map should also be logical. Kasi forest, so dapat green. Water, so dapat blue. So normally croplands are orange, yellow. Built up areas are red, black roads. So there are guidelines for this one. Okay. What's the logical colors to use when we want to present this? What's the logical colors to use if we want to use this? So you have that. So again, no, so you could use this sort of guideline when you're making your future maps, especially projects or anything like that. And you just save this. Okay, so now, let's go back to our phase 3. So, tapos na to. Okay? Tapos na yung contour map. Okay? That's done. But don't remove them yet. Just uncheck or unhide. Because your phase 3 is on slope analysis. So, based on the revised forestry code of the country, no public land above 18% slope should be planted. Okay, they should be considered as forest land. They should be protected above 18%. So that means anything above 18%, hindi ka pwede magtanim or hindi mo siya pwede i-claim. They're alienable. Okay. Anything above 50% should always be reserved for our forest. Okay. Don't be like Cebu. Okay? Laging issue na naman. Na-issue na naman si Slater Young. So, wala lang. If you follow up on news on that one. Anyway, so our goal is to analyze our slope. So you already have this one. Right? You already have your DEM. Wala siyang nawala. It's just there. Okay? It's just there. It's the same thing. I'm just selecting my metric one rather than my lat long one. I'll focus on this one. So on your exercise guide, okay, the first thing is to do your slope analysis. So instead of you doing the slope analysis from your contour map, like how we're taught before, okay, like sa una, when you say analyze the slope of an area, normally it's you measure the length of your contour horizontally, then you take the contour interval, and that's the slope. Okay, that's the slope. But we're not gonna do that. My QGIS, so let's let QGIS do the work for us. So I'm gonna go back to my DEM and go to raster analysis. Raster analysis. And automatic na siya may direction na dito, na ay slope. So on your parameters, so your input layer is your DEM. Yung metric, yung 3125 in my case. And you should express your slope as percent instead of degrees so that it's gradual from low to high. And keep everything default. Press run. So you'll get this one. Incoherent pa siya. You'll see that it outlined your rivers, your streams. Okay, when you go to watershed delineation, okay, in land and water conservation, you'll understand what this is for. But for now, let's just assume that this is what we got. Okay, let's not be assume. Let's be happy na ito yung nakuha ni QGIS. Okay? So, based on this alone, it's hard for me to still convey which of these areas are arable or suitable for planting. Okay? So, I want to present this so that I can identify ano ba dapat ang kulay ng slope. So, the first thing you can do is to check, tama ba yung nakuha ko is, what I normally do is I change the color of my slope. So that's, again, right-click your data, symbology, from properties muna, symbology. And instead of single band gray, you select single band pseudocolor. And on your color ramp, I select, pwede orange, red, pwede din yellow, orange, red. So, RD is red, OR is orange, BU is blue, and so on. Okay, you understand that? Wala, may color blind ba sa class? What if he's colorblind? So I have to do. Murag wa man siguro colorblind. So normally I use slope as yellow, orange, red, or orange, red. Yun lang. Because it's easily identifiable to me. But looking at this, ang daming orange, ang daming yellow. So I still cannot easily identify which of which. So we want something like this. Okay? So I still cannot really define what yellow means. Like, is this really for cropland? But there's a yellow here. This is good for crops. So we want to analyze our slope. So looking at your data here on the left side, your slope map is from 0 to 150%. So there are slopes from 0 to up to 150. So that means every coloring is defined from 0 to 150. And we only want to focus on our loss. Okay, so on your exercise guide there, I've attached a classification table. So you can sort of like apply our sorting. So how to do that is you go here on your processing toolbox. Okay. If wala yung processing toolbox, it's usually here. Right click and then find your processing toolbox panel. And type reclass. Let the program find it for. It's smart enough to do that. So on your reclass, you click your reclassify by table. So what this does is it takes your originally generated DEM and you apply a sort of sorting. Para siyang field calculator dito sa vector. So parang 0 to 3, ako siya baguhon into a new value. Anything from 3 to 8, ako siya baguhon to a new value. Okay? So, how do you classify? So, you already have this table. Pinanakaan. You go on your reclassification table. Okay? On your table, you apply the table that's in your exercise guide. And it has 4 rows. Add 4 rows. So in the guide, 0 to 3 is your rise. So I'm gonna set that value to 1. So that means any slope from 0 to 3%, I will reclassify that to only be 1. You have to remember that this slope map is a TIF or a DAM, not a DAM, a raster. Okay? So that means this is also pixel based. Dili siya line. So each pixel contains a value. So the reason why we're doing this is so that we can set a range that everything from 0 to 3 is all for rice. Anything from 3 to 8 is for corn or livestock. Now, if you can't open, but this is in your lab guide, this table that I'm using. Why 999? It's safe. So anything from 18 above is considered as forest. Okay? So in this case, so everything from 0 to 3 is rice or lowland. So base sa ating laws. 3 to 8 is for your livestock, upland crops. 8 to 18 is on your agroforestry. 18 above is forest. Okay? So click OK. And lastly, you change this one to min less value should be greater than or equal to min, then less than max. So ang mangyayari is, since our table has repeating values, it should only select 1. So what if 0 to 3 plus 3 to 8? If you have a cell that's exactly 3, saan siya papasok? Sa 1 or sa 2? What this sets is that it's choosing the latter, the earlier one. So if, let's say, if 3, dito siya musod sa 0 to 3, dili sa 3 to 8. Ito lang purpose nito. So that you don't have errors when you have multiple. And then keep everything default and click run. Now you have your regions. It's still in black and white. It's usually default black and white. And now you can just do the same thing. Recolor, go to properties, symbology. This time I prefer, I'll just do pseudo color again. Okay. And I'm keeping the same colorway or coloring. By default, you'll have 0, 1, 7, 5, 2. Okay. I don't want that. I want to follow my coloring system, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I will select here equal interval and 4 classes lang naman. Okay. So I have distinct colors for my area. Okay. So your default is continuous. So that means it's a continuous color. So that means brush out my transition. But I'm focusing on the individual zones na ako dito focus. So I'm gonna change this to equal. Change my classes to 4. And then I click apply. So now, okay, based on this one, I can see saang regions maganda mag-plant ng rice, which is somewhere in this area here. So that means this area pala is not suitable for rice. So that means that on the official satellite, this should not be for rice, okay? Because based on your results, it should be for something upland, maybe corn, shrubs, legumes, stuff like that. So this is a lot easier to visualize compared to this one, because this one you still can't get. What does this map want to say compared with your this one, where okay, so this is my mountain area, so I can't plant there. So that means there are zones here that are suitable for upland farming. There are zones here that are suitable for agroforestry. And the crop or rice areas should have priority in this region right here. So, ang trick doon is, now you have this. Okay? Ito lang naman ang hinihingi. This and your contour map. Sorry, apologize for that one. You go back on your layout. If wala kayong binago doon, just keep everything default. It should automatically update. So now, from the same layout that you had from your contour map, okay, so that's your contour map. You don't have to move the map. Okay? You don't have to do that. Okay? You just change your active layer and just click draw. And that's it. Now you have a new map that is instead on your slope zones. Yung kanina, contour map. And ito is your slope zone. And then, how much area here is dedicated to rice? Things like that. You can add your legend. And so that's how you the reason why I advocate for di na ninyo i-move ang map is, say you have a book. Present this in a book or a report. A book or a report is usually stapled or bound either on the side or from the top. When you have the same, okay, you have the same location of your map, pinalitan nyo lang yung content, it's a lot easier to watch when you're flipping to a book or you're flipping to a report, because your eyes are not moving. When you muna yung first page, contour map. When you flip the page, instead of your eyes adjusting its scale perception, it's the same size. Okay. Based on this one, okay. Okay. That means just by flipping, you're not adding more stuff to think about, but rather add ano lang pala siya based on this contour map and this slope map, based on their overlay. Dito ko dapat plant rice. Dito ako dapat so when you have that, it's a lot easier for visualization. So instead of focusing on changing their eyes on the map, say ang inyong contour map kay ganito kalaki, and then your slope map is this big. When you're reading that on two separate pages, it's off-putting. And then gigamay. You're doing different scales on two different things on a lot of pages. So isipon mo, ano ni gamay ni siya? Is it the same? Is it the same thing? makes it harder for your reader or for the people to read. I don't know. I can't easily compare because this one is small, this one is big. So that's why when you have maps, okay, when you do it on your report, okay, a map should be one page. Walang iba. It should occupy the page always. So say when you're doing your thesis, I know people here are doing their thesis. So let's say a thesis is 1.5 meters from 1.5 inches from the edge. So that means if I want my thesis maps to be good looking, you have to take into account that say you have a book, right? Or you have a thesis. When you flip, I could have my map reading like this, or landscape, kumbaga. Or let's say you can have a portrait thesis for a map. Okay? So when you're reading your map, every time you flip the page, it's the same size. So meaning in this location, it's easier for the readers, the map readers, or the people to understand the scale because they're easily able to pinpoint. Kani siya nga area kay mao ni ang contour gap, mao ni ang slope, mao ni ang land cover. Okay, I can understand. So when you're making your thesis, let's say you have a site suitability map thesis or something like that, or you have a location-based thesis and you want to present your map as part of your study area. Dito pa lang, okay, sa save PDF pa lang for your layout, I already have to account that I have to print this in one single page na ako i-appeal sa bookbind. So I have to so I can set this area here to be a bit wider. Okay? Okay. If wide ni siya, that means pag i-bookbind, ma-appeal na ning gap sa pag-paste o pag-glue. So wala ako off or wala ako data nga mawala. Or if you want your map to be landscape on a portrait thesis, I can just move this down. So that means this gap here at the top is your gluing point. But, dili na nako ni mabasa kaning di ba? I can't read this degrees, this grid kasi nasa taas naadiri ang ako glue point. So instead, I can just set the grids to change from the top to the bottom. So now, when I present this on a book, okay, nga naadiri ang spine or gluing area, the reader can just rotate your book or your brochure or your report. Okay, kani siya mao ni. So dapat pag ako ni siya i-flip to the next page, this should have the same position. And ang napalitan lang should be this one. So they have to be on the same spot. And when you flip it over, okay. Okay. So when you say, add your Google satellite map, as you're flipping, katong kanihang red zone, kuanda ito, forest land or protected area. So that means you're now presenting your data in a much coherent fashion instead of putting 4 maps in the same block. Is this right? Is this the same scale? Is this the same scale? I don't know, it's confusing. So as you learn, as you practice your map making, okay, you understand the nuances of this. So I'll focus here because this is your end goal. So on your, basically, these are the only 2 you have to include in the report. your slope map, and your contour map. And kayo na bahala how you want to present your maps. Yun lang naman yung goal is how much of this is map. Anyway, questions? Uh, wala na eh. Okay. Anyway, anyone? Questions? Wala na? Yes. What was that about? May nag-raise ng hand. Yes. I know the YouTube one was seamless compared to the Drive ones. I don't know. It was confusing. Any updates on your former reports? Wala bang issue doon? So what? Let me check. Nung section 2, 97. Wait. Is she? Wait, what? Okay, this group of isa ni group 2 sa class na to. Sila ano ba to? Ariel, your group, yeah, should be lucky kasi ormoc din pala kayo. The exercise is on ormoc. So, okay. Looking at your admin map, so you use the grid style. So you can skip that one. Okay lang naman, the grid style. And you, you're fond of sa itong isa. Sino ngayon nag-Southern Leyte? Sila ano, di ba? Anyway, no questions because if none, then we can discuss. looks like there's none. Anyway, thank you for attending the class, and I'll upload the file later. For my students of irrigation, just answer the quiz. Yun lang. It's na ano lang kasi we had a meeting, faculty-wide meeting this morning, and I couldn't attend the class. Anyway, again, thank you everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
free to leave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Salamat, sir.
Thank you, sir.